bună ziua! Mă bucur să fiu aici alături de dumneavoastră. Mă bucur să fiu din nou la Constanța, unde am fost acum 15 ani și este prima dată că m-am întors după aia. Și astăzi am avut o vizită foarte productivă. M-am întâlnit la început cu primarul, după aia am fost la port, după aia m-am întâlnit la Archer Daniels Midland, ADM, și după aia cu mufti la universitate și la sfârșit cu dumneavoastră, cu presa. E foarte important întotdeauna să ne întâlnim cu presa. Dacă îmi permiteți, o să continuez în limba engleză. Just to say a few highlights of the visit, my focus was first and foremost on issues related to security, the security partnership between the United States and Romania, particularly in support for Ukraine during this terrible war, unprovoked aggression on Ukraine, and with the mayor and with other interlocutors, our ADM, and with the Mufti, we talked about aid that has been provided to Ukrainian refugees. The second largest group of Ukrainian refugees has been in this area, many coming from Odessa. And I expressed our appreciation for the great way in which they have been received here. The refugees have been very pleased and happy with the assistance they have received here. We also talked about how this region has been critical in helping get grain out of Ukraine. 13 million tons transshipped through the port of Constanța. This has been really critical for world food security, so we discussed that as well. We talked about future areas for trade and investment. I was here with one of our commercial officers from the U.S. Embassy to discuss opportunities for more trade and investment from American companies and try to help make connections here for those businesses. Also, we discussed the Black Sea as in terms of Black Sea strategy for the region, the importance of boosting security here. And also, I just wanted to say I expressed our appreciation for the hosting of U.S. troops nearby at the MK Air Base and for the warm reception that they've received, and our commitment to working closely with our ally Romania in partnership with NATO, just to strengthen security in the region, particularly deterrence and defense. So let me stop there and take your questions.
Victor?
Victor Radu, CTnews. First of all, I would like to ask you, you're the first female ambassador from the United States in Romania. How does that feel?
Well, I'm incredibly honored that President Biden selected me to be the ambassador to Romania. I think in my career, I've had the opportunity to work in Russia, Ukraine, Bosnia, so I know this region well, and I thank him for the confidence that he invested in me. In terms of being the first woman ambassador, I hope to use that position to help support the role of women in Romanian society. I've already met with women parliamentarians and talked about the need to increase participation of women in politics and in other leadership roles, and I'd be happy to lend my support to those efforts while I'm here.
I'd like to ask you, I don't know if I explain well in English, Dobrogea, Constanța.
Yes.
It's a strategic point in Romania regarding the war, the aggression of Russia in Ukraine, okay? It was before the war, but now something changed. USA is more involved in Dobrogea than it was before the war, and how?
Well, first of all, of course, we have increased by 3 times the presence of American troops in the region. We had a large presence before, but in terms of defense and deterrence, as I mentioned, it's important not only that there be a presence here, but that we have training together with Romanian forces, that our forces learn to work together more closely, to support the efforts of the Romanian government to expand and modernize the airbase, to make it a key locus of defense activities in this region. So I think all of those things are important. We will work also in other areas such as monitoring, intelligence, and all of those things. But I think for the NATO alliance, Romania is in a critical position in terms of geographic location. You are very close to the war here, unfortunately, not so far away from you. And I think the other thing that's important to note is that Romania, in terms of its role in the NATO alliance, has been a model ally, contributing 2.5% of its gross national product to defense, which I think is a model for many other NATO countries, but I think perhaps reflects the fact that you feel more closely than others the risks of the war nearby.
Okay, after the incident in which an American drone was shot down in the Black Sea, the area was described as a powder keg, even by the American press. Do you agree with this description and the assessment that Romania, Bulgaria and Turkey are hard to be made to work like the Baltic states as a singular voice?
I don't agree that it's a powder keg. I don't think that's an appropriate description. I think that it's important to note that the incident was unprovoked and unprofessional from the Russian side and happened in international airspace, and that the United States will continue such missions. I think that the war has caused a reassessment in many capitals of the value of cooperation, and I'm hopeful that we'll see greater cooperation among the countries in the region as they recognize the issues that are at stake.
Last year, the Romanian Internal Affairs Minister said that in 2024, Romanian could go to the United States without the visas. Do we have any progress in this area right now?
This is an issue in which we're working really closely with the Romanian authorities to try to conclude a lot of the administrative steps that lead towards establishing a visa waiver regime. We will also try to work on improving communication jointly with the Romanian government to help reduce the number of refusals in visas, and I'm hopeful. I don't know. I don't want to put out a specific date because it will depend on the progress. But there is progress being made now, and I'm hoping that during my tenure in Romania, we'll see Romania included in the visa waiver program.
And Romanian official said about 2 years if we are. I know, lucky.
Yeah, I can't say. I can't say, but what I can say is that other EU countries have managed to find a way to improve within a similar time frame. So I wouldn't rule it out, but of course we have to see the steps taken and the improvements made. So I think. One thing I would mention is I think there's support in Congress, in the American Congress. You saw that recently some senators introduced legislation supporting this. So I think, we would like to see this happen as soon as possible. But of course, it's governed by legislation in the United States, and we can't skip through the steps. But I'm happy with the cooperation we have right now with the Romanian government. they seem very focused on making progress, so I'm hopeful that we will advance.
Port of Constanța has become a key port in the region,
Yes.
both for grain exports from Ukraine and for strategic military proposals. What has been done well in the port since the beginning of the war, and what more could be done on the port?
Yeah, well, I had a great tour today of the port, which I really enjoyed. What I think's been done well is there's a great public-private partnership in the port. There's both the presence of the government, but also many of the operations are run by private companies, which I think made it possible to improve the performance in response to the war and the need to transship more grain. I know there are more investments to come. We heard about those. So I think obviously one of the things we'll be looking at this fall is what happens in terms of other ways of shipping grain out of the Black Sea. And if there are restrictions at the straits, there will be greater demand through the Port of Constanța. And I think what I saw today indicated that the improvements have made it possible to rapidly increase, and hopefully it will serve as a backup to other routes.